Do you want to land your dream job in school counseling? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 5 tips to help you get hired. And stick around to the end because I'm going to share a resource with you that you definitely need if you want to get hired. When you walk into a room, you have to mix professionalism with a little bit of your personality. A lot of times people hire for personality and your qualifications, so you have to be personable. Make sure when you walk in, you smile, you greet them, and then you confidently sit down and begin talking about yourself, answering the questions. In the beginning, they're probably going to ask you, tell me a little bit about yourself. This is where you talk about your background, your experience, and mix in a little bit of your personality so that they see that you're a perfect fit for the job. And you also want to be knowledgeable of who's actually in the room with you. So be prepared to know who's there with you, who's interviewing you. Look at their background. You can search them up on LinkedIn or read their bio on their school webpage. And it's a great tip to mention some of the things that they like, some of their hobbies in your interview, especially if you share those things in common. And on top of knowing who's in the interview with you, you want to be prepared and have enough materials for them. That includes resumes. It's also a good idea to stand out by bringing a document with a QR code to your virtual portfolio. And if you don't know how to make one of those, I've got videos on that below. Another thing you can do to prepare beforehand is research the school. Of course, you can look at the school's webpage, but it's also a good idea to scrub their social media, so their Twitter or X. I can't get in the habit of calling it X. You can look at the school's Facebook or their Instagram and their other social media sites just to get an idea of the events, the programs, and different things that they've hosted throughout the school, especially if you have things that you want to share in order to enhance their school culture. It's also a good idea to research their mission, their vision, their core values, and their goals. A lot of times schools will put their school improvement plan on their webpage, so you want to research their school improvement plan to see if there's any areas of growth and opportunity and their success stories. Another way to be prepared for their interview is searching niche.com, and you can search the school's demographics and other pertinent information that will help you make an informed decision and be prepared. These are also great talking points because it helps you figure out what areas you can work on to improve that school. Next, you want to be ready. So it's normal to be a little nervous for interviews. One thing that I've realized over the years of going on many interviews is that when you are confident, when you know your skills, you know your material, you know your content area, you can be prepared for an interview, and it takes away the nervousness, especially if you know what you're talking about. And one way to do that, if you're not confident yet, you can video yourself. So do like a mock interview where you set up a camera in your office or your room and you video yourself answering questions. After you're done, go back and re-watch that video and see what areas you need to work on as far as like strengthening your responses. Or if you have a friend or a close family member who can get on a call with you, why don't you have them ask you some specific interview questions and then you can answer them and let them give you feedback. So after you practice your interview questions, it's also a good idea when you walk in the door, already have some scenarios in mind. A lot of times you're going to have some behavior-based or situation-based interview questions, and if you already have some scenarios in mind, that's going to set you up for success. For example, think about a difficult decision you've ever had to make, or a change that you made or implemented to improve a situation. You can also focus on a difficult colleague, staff member, student, or even their family that you had to work with. How did you overcome that situation? So when you're asked these situation or behavior-based interview questions, already have some scenarios in mind so that you're not fumbling in your mind trying to come up with something on the spot. And it also helps you prepare the STAR method where you're talking about the situation, the task, the action you completed, and then sharing your results. That is a very clear and focused way to answer questions to make sure that you're answering everything that they ask you and while you're staying on target at the same time to make sure you're not rambling. And then ask questions at the end. There's nothing worse than going to an interview and not having any questions ready when they ask you. So of course, the interview is a two-way street. They're trying to figure out if you are a great culture fit for their company or their school, but you're also trying to see if you want to work with this particular team. So I always come prepared with at least 5 interview questions. You may not have an opportunity to ask all 5, but it's important to rank at least the top 3 or 4 that you want to ask. That's going to help you decide if you want to take that job opportunity. If you need help, you can steal my interview questions. What is your leadership style? This one is important because it helps you understand if you want to work with that particular school leader or principal. You may be in a spot where you need a job, but trust me, you want to know if you want to be in that school. Because if you end up working for that school leader and they're not a great fit for you, or they're a micromanager, or they're condescending, or a toxic leader, you're going to end up looking for another job soon anyway. So you want to make sure that you ask them that particular question so you can listen intently for their answer to decide if this is the person you want to work with. Another question I ask is I have them describe the culture of their school, the parents, the students, the staff, and the overall environment. What does that look like and feel like? And it's always a great idea to ask them some of the previous year's success stories and areas of opportunity. That way it helps you understand the things that you can do as priorities coming in the door. And it's always a good idea to ask them a fun question at the end, something to break the ice so it's not so serious. If you had 3 words to describe this team, what 3 words would you use? Or what's your favorite vacation spot or something silly like that? So now for the bonus tip. I've created a resource specifically for you, for people who are searching for jobs and wanting to get hired. In this ebook, I reveal several effective tips to get hired and prepared for interviews. You'll get resources such as templates for a virtual portfolio that you can plug and play and create on your own. So I've already done the work for you. You'll get some mock interview questions and situations to help you prepare, and other things to help you land your school counseling role. To get your copy, go to my website, CounselingwithMrB.com. It's linked in the description below as well. I would love to hear from you. What was your favorite tip from this video? And after watching this video, if you still need some help on how to get hired or you need some interview tips, check out my interview playlist on the screen.